Yeah, so this is going to be like part 2, I guess, of the old Hardbody here.
Part 2.5.
Yeah. 2.5. Ran into some technical difficulties and whatnot with our camera gear, but hey, so we're going to have a huge update on the motor because the last time you guys saw, we pulled the motor out and we didn't really dive into really much on what we're doing. So today I'm going to dive into that hopefully and elaborate further on what we're doing. So
you're talking about the motor that was in there?
Yes. Yeah. So you saw in the last video, we pulled the original single cam out of here. And the plan is to do the single cam build. You're gonna have the whole ratty, nasty truck motor build that we're gonna be doing. And it's under this blanket here, which again, I don't wanna get ahead of ourselves. We'll get to that today, don't worry. But right now, we got our trusty shop dog, Lewis, here. He's gonna be handing me wrenches and whatnot, because we got my brother behind the camera filming. So, first order of business here is we're going to be yanking the interior out. So I bought a big, nice wire harness here from Wiring Specialties. So one of the things we need, because I got a specific intake for my truck, is we need the wiring harness for a 240SX, an S13. So that's what I got in here. This is just their OEM series harness, and I got like a little bit of extra bits. And once we get to that point, I'll start tearing this apart and we'll get into that. So right now, in order to run the wire harness, we got 2 things we got to do. So we got to pull the interior out. We don't have to do that, but I'm choosing to do that because it's going to make my life way easier. So that way I can get access to the dash harness and hopefully help de-pin it, or if I even have to de-pin it, interface it with the new wire harness that I bought. And then once the interior's out and we're ready to go, we're going to start cleaning up that engine bay, because as later on you'll see in the video, I'm not going to put a nice pretty engine in a nasty crusty engine bay. So right now, enough yapping. I'm going to start ripping some stuff out of this truck here and we'll just go from there. So first order of business for the interior is going to be yanking these seats out. The seats that I got in here, they're out of a S13. And so this is, yeah, they're a little bit nasty. They're old, they're used. I didn't put these in there. The guy before me did, and I don't really trust how they were installed. I'm looking at some things here. Here, why don't you get close up on this? I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what it's hooked up to or how it's hooked up. Because I'm pretty sure, but not entirely sure, that is factory seat mount right there.
Yeah, this is drill through the cab.
Oh no, he's did. So now we're gonna be closing holes. Fun. So we're going to be peeling back some layers and years, because this is a 30-year-old truck with 30 years of half-assed installs done. So some of them by me.
Most
of them by me, actually. But this one I'm not going to stake claim to, gladly. So first order of business, getting these nasty seats out.
All right, let's do it.
I don't care if I'm snapping stuff at this point. I just want it gone. Let's see if he ran standard or any 16th wrench. Huh. Get a look at this. Look at that. Nice little self-tapper. Remember, kids, always use self-taps on your seats that have the seat belts mounted to them. So if you see here, if you use this seat belt, in the event of an accident, this seat is coming with you, especially if you use self-taps. Don't be like this guy. Use the factory ones. They have grade 8 bolts, and they're properly mounted right there.
What's that guy doing in there?
The nice thing with Nissans is you only need a 10, a 12, a 14, and a 17, and you can do your entire build. That's a proper seat bolt. We'll be saving that for the new seats we put in. Time to pop.
Shit is keyword.
Ooh, fun. I always love peeling seats back, so even though this has been mine before, there's always going to be something new when you're pulling stuff out. Older seats, Oh, would you look at that? A fresh ball joint. Looks like a lower one.
Nice.
Nice. Get up there. What's up there? Come on. All right. So, what do we do next, dude? What do you think? Do you think we pull the dash next, or do you think we just get the other seat?
We pull the other seat and the speakers.
Come on down. Come on down. So I did put these speakers in here a while ago. They're just little.
They still sounding good?
This, well, as good as Walmart speakers are going to sound. You look at that. So I haven't decided yet, though, if I'm going to be building a center console. So, or if I'm even going to be putting bucket seats back in. So those are one of the few things that you got to figure out when you're doing this kind of stuff.
Are we gonna slide the car over?
It might make our lives a little easier. Hey, would you look at that? An original Nissan badge for the front end. Good thing you kept that. I thought for sure he would have got rid of that.
Probably hasn't even been moved.
I know, I've used it.
Huh?
I've
Guess it
used
has
it.
been moved.
Yeah, it does work. That's cool. I'll stay. And $0.75. We're already up 25 cents.
There we go.
This build's worth it. No, this truck is for the most part decently rustle free. For the most part.
There we go.
Bam. Okay. Seat number 2 should be out. Weight reduction. All right, cool. So next order of operation is I really want to get this carpet out of here and then vacuum it up, and then we could start pulling the dash out next. I'm going to leave the door cards in because I don't really need to pull them out. Plus I have all the speaker wires and everything. We're not going to be painting this thing just yet, but we will eventually. So that's why I'm not too worried about pulling a lot of this stuff out and throwing it away. But in order to pull the carpet out, we got to undo my hydro. So this is hooked up. All I do is I just have it teed off into the rear brake line.
What did you do with this wrench right here? This crescent.
Okay, so when I ordered this is just an eBay cheapy little hydro. I ordered this 5-6 years ago, and I did not like the handle. It kind of curved forward and got in the way of the original parking brake, which I was still utilizing and am still utilizing. So a buddy of mine actually had this wrench, and I just like, man, I thought it'd be really darn funny to throw a wrench in there. And well, we just tapped a hole and actually have the wrench bit down on the bolt here. And that's how it's been ever since. Typically, when people mount these and install these, they are a standalone. You run a dual caliper setup. I'm still running the rear drums. So what I did, and as you can tell, there's no reservoir here, so it is not a standalone brake setup, is I tapped into the feed going to the rear end. So the input comes into here, and then the output goes back down and goes to the rear end. So actually when I'm applying brakes, if I pull it here, it stays.
Oh my God.
Yep. So that means the only way that happens is if there's air pockets, which who'd have thought air pockets would get it here. We got high points, and there's no bleeders anywhere. So this is never a good way to do this. I would never ever recommend doing this. Doing it this way because there's no proper way to bleed it without a power bleeder, and even then it's probably not going to work.
I think it's kind of a fun accent. Obviously we're taking it out. I don't know if you're going to keep it, do something different, but
yeah, who knows?
Just kind of a simple fun way to
it's definitely
make an adjustment.
I'm not planning on drifting this thing over at tracks and stuff. I plan on making it a street car, so it's more than likely this won't go back in there, but who knows. I'll hang on to it because I don't like throwing anything away, if you can't already tell.
Yeah. So obviously this just unbolts from the cab.
Correct.
But we have brake lines here. So where tapped in from, is this cardboard?
No.
That's fucking cardboard.
No, it's not.
This is 100% cardboard.
It is. Let me unbolt my cardboard really quick.
Fastening.
Little snack for Lewis.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, bub.
Okay. And so we gotta what? Feed it through. Can we cap these, or how are we pulling these brake lines without bleeding the whole system, or is that what we're doing right now?
Probably won't be bleeding the whole system. But I'm gonna figure that out. More than likely, what I'm gonna do for right now is I'm just gonna unbolt this and then just bend the lines and then hang it out back here. That's not where it's gonna stay, but until I can get some sort of ceiling caps to throw on there really quick.
Gotcha.
Because I do gotta get rid of these lines. They're embarrassing, they're crusty, and obviously that big ass hole was getting sealed by cardboard. So termites were a factor in this truck, among other bugs. So I'm just gonna go ahead and
get
rid of this.
Okay.
Not bad for Braille. No way that was on finger tight. No way.
What are we laughing on right now?
Oh my god. No, just wait. Just wait. I think I put a 3-inch bolt in there. No nut. Never know what you're gonna find when a 22-year-old tries to build his first drift truck.
It's just a brake lever.
Dude, don't even worry about it. It's fine, man. I don't know why you're so stressed out. But to build a proper bracket. Oh no, there was a nut there.
Did you just rip that through the floor?
Yes, that's always a great sign.
Oh, because it's staggered on the floor.
Yeah, I think I just used that as a spacer. So now dust guard can get out of the way, and then the locking plate can too. But I have to pull the kick panels out here, and then the little trim pieces, and then probably this lower cover. This is actually venting. Okay. So this is just trim face. Boy, crusty. Get you some sort of organizer when you're doing your interiors and engines, anything for that matter. Yeah, because you're gonna lose them. If you just throw them in baggies and unlabel them, you're never gonna know where they go, and you'll probably also lose them.
A bump stop? Take that shit out, dude. You get some more horsepower.
Yeah. Way more horsepower.
What are you looking at?
Okay. So this little tool, you can get these out of Riley's and probably even Harbor Freight, but I use this thing for everything. So having plastic ones are great and all, but this metal one actually gives you the bite on it needed to really pry some stuff up. We're gonna go all the way down and pop these. So they're Phillips, so you can do it properly, but since you can replace these, I'm just forcing them out. So yeah, we got some rusting there. Damn. Okay, that's usual suspect stuff right there.
Surface rust can be cleaned up pretty easily though.
Yeah, not horrible, but kind of a bummer. There we go. Like I said, I use this on everything. That bugger was in there. I don't think that's ever been removed. So it was not wrapped around, it was just Velcroed. Nasty, nasty. Yeah. Found the key. So the fun thing is, with these wire harnesses for the 240SXs, and the issue that we're going to run into here is the ECU location is in a different spot. And, what are you seeing? Don't yell at them. They're not doing nothing.
Oh, is it the camera?
Is it the camera? I've never seen them do that. Oh, it is.
He's gonna bite the shit out of your new phone.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, back up. Calm down. Stand down, soldier. Anyways, they're in different locations. And so with the car, in the 240s, they're right here in the kick panel. And then obviously, as you can see, where the hard bodies are located. So now
Are you gonna relocate yours, or
we'll find out. And like I said, I got a new ECU, so we're not gonna be running this one. And we can't. And like I said, I'll get into that in a little bit.
dude, he wants to fight this phone?
Yeah, why? You've never been that way. Or is it this? Oh,
The hose is
the hose is still in here. You are a spaz and a half. Stop it. Cool, the truck's taking itself apart. I don't have to do nothing about it. Pry bar. That would have been real embarrassing. I should just have to unplug the cigarette out. There we go. God, I don't know why I ever painted this. It's so bad. It's just a trim piece. It doesn't actually hold anything on. Whoa. Sorry, I'm jumpy. The little amp trigger wire was tickling my fingers and thought it was a bug.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably just pulled these off. Oh, man. Wow. Okay.
Pretty simple.
I guess, yeah.
Well, that's how that comes out.
Yeah, that's how that comes out in pieces. Yeah, they have, thankfully, you can get them on eBay. Let's see if I can post some sort of a link. But you can get all new grills and their trim pieces. So it's part of a kit. And for whatever reason, it comes with the valance grills as well. So it's about 80 bucks, I want to say. But yeah, you can get all new vents and then their trim bezels. So, yeah.
Bacon.
Look at that. It's just crumbling in my hand here. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
much.
no effort at all. And I'm
Doesn't
worried
take much.
about the rest of the dash. I can't put my fist through it yet, so we'll go easy. So that way I don't have to replace everything. But there's a way to pull this out. Yes, there is. Oh my gosh. Wow. What a hunk. And all the little screws. I'm going to keep those in there. That's crazy. All the little screws that hold that trim bezel in. I'm surprised this made it. This must be made out of a way better stuff.
It's also not exposed.
Yeah, I guess. That's dirty though. Nasty. Go ahead and do that here. Don't know. In the bin. There we go. Just, I think there we go. Oh boy, what do we got going on back here? Now, what do you mean this isn't OE?
Dude, that's not OEM.
What do you mean that's not OEM?
You wouldn't even be able to tell.
No, I did a super solid job with this. Grade A.
Frankenstein ass.
No, that's minimum 50 an hour work right there.
Yeah?
Minimum.
Came loose.
Sounded like it. Sweet. All right. Instrument cluster is now out. Later video. All right, so pulling these out. We're kind of getting there. I just undid a couple screws and we are starting to get a little bit more wiggly. You just bend the plastic. So those are hinge pins that go on the bottom of the glove box. All right,
So definitely a few bolts in there.
This should just be a cover, possibly for the air filter, the cabin air filter.
It's not disintegrated. Does it even have one?
No, that's probably why it stinks so damn bad. What a joke. Barthy dash, there we go. Okay. Easy as pie. Okay. Golly.
Pulled right off.
Yeah, easy as that.
Coming to me or going to you?
Take it. Wow. That is really bad. This is what we're dealing with up top here. Look at that. Jeez.
All that dust.
Ugh. Yeah, so if you ever wonder why your pickup's stinking, that's why.
45 years of dust sitting in there.
No, not that old. It ain't 70s. It's 30 years.
35.
This is where we're going to leave it today. Yeah, so now we got a good foundation. We can, clean anything up, get the dust out, get the smell out, clean up the HVAC piping, revamping it, making sure everything runs and works good. Seeing if there's some sort of built-in air filter somewhere. I don't think so, but we'll figure it out. So we're all done here. Got the interior out of the truck and in the bed. So now this gives us a lot cleaner access to the ECU where we're gonna run the wire harness. So let's go ahead. Let's move away from this since we're all done with that for the day. And I know I teased about the motor that I got under here. So bear with me before we get to that. I want to talk about some of the things I got. So we've got the fuel rail here. This is the factory fuel rail. All I did was just paint it gold. As you can tell, we're going to be having a theme going here. And a couple things you need when you go standalone turbo single turbo on these engines is you don't really want to use the factory fuel pressure regulator. So you get an aftermarket adjustable one, so you can kind of trick your injectors to shoot a little bit higher, and we can try and get this thing up to 50 psi instead of the normal 35 to 40. So what you need to do to get away from the mechanical one is to get this ISR delete kit. So I got this off eBay. It was about 30 to 35 bucks, and it already comes with this little O-ring in there. You just unbolt it and put it in there, and all it is just a right angle adapter. So no more vacuum lines, nothing like that. And then you just run this line to your fuel pressure regulator. I just got simple pulleys here. It's nothing really that cool. But we've got a couple must-haves for any turbo swap. Like in here, this is just a cheapy little oil catch can. So this is a must, especially when you're talking about an engine as old as this. This engine's 35 years old. It's got 190,000 miles on it, almost 200. So those rings are going to be a little worn out. When you start adding boost to things, you're going to start creating a lot of crankcase pressure, which is going to cause oil blow-by, and that means that oil is going to get sucked into your intake. Not a lot, but you're going to get a lot of vapors. This will catch all those oil vapors so it doesn't gum up your valves or anything else in your intake. Definitely is a must-have. Is this. This is an AEM AFR gauge. So this is also known as a wideband. So this is going to add an extra O2 sensor to the system. It'll have its own thing. It'll run itself. It'll be self-sustaining. So basically what it's going to do is going to give me my air-fuel ratios. And that's going to tell me if I'm running too lean or too rich, because these old computers, they don't really know the difference. So they'll do the best they can, but they're not going to tell you exactly how bad the engine's running. This will. So this will help. This is an added bit of security that is absolutely necessary, in my opinion, if you're going to turbo these trucks, if you want to keep it longer than 20,000 miles. Okay? So my wiring specialties, OEM series wire harness in here. So I got to figure out how the heck I'm going to smash this whole kit into that. So stay tuned. This will be its own video because I'm going to be learning a lot and hopefully teaching you guys a lot about this. Because to be honest, I don't know if this is going to work. So, but we're all learning here.
It's more the question of we don't know how we're going to make it work, right?
Right, exactly. So to pair with that, because this is the wire harness for a S13, an 89 to 90 S13. Because they share the same single cam, just with different intakes.
Is there a specific reason why you chose that wire harness?
Yes, and I also chose that same year ECU to run in it. So I got this used off Facebook Marketplace. As far as I know, it works. Never been able to test it, so that could be another thing too. But we'll get into that. So I chose to go full OE just on the whole aspect of budget. Now, into the part that I've been, holding you guys off on. This is our 35-year-old motor. So as you can tell, we got a couple things here. It looks quite different from the last time you saw it when we yanked it out. We've got the S13 intake manifold. So this is where what ties in the wire harness and the ECU choice that I made. Is I had to do that because these intakes run on a MAF sensor, so a mass airflow sensor. Whereas the factory intakes that the Hardbodies run on is a MAP sensor, so a mass air pressure. So it's a different type of sensor setup, and that one sensor alone completely changes what ECU you have to run. So since I wanted to use this intake, it's going to give us a little bit better airflow. It's going to help us squeeze a little bit more power and usability and functionality out of this cheapy little turbo that we got on here. So that's why I want to do this. People have had great success using the factory intake as it is on the pickups, but I just, for aesthetics purposes, because it's really what it's all about, it's got to look cool, and nothing looks cooler than the 240's intake. So to talk more about what we got here, everything here is factory. The only thing though is there is actual butterfly valves in here, and that helps.
What's that specifically?
That they're I can show you actually because the factory intakes have them over here.
What's a butterfly valve and how is it different than OEM?
So it's these little valves right here. So this is your intake ports. So what those do is this little actuator will close it on a cold start. And it helps the thing start a little bit easier and more consistently. And it's another way to control its idle, I think, but it might not. It might literally just be used on cold starts. So the guy that I bought this from already deleted that. I was planning to delete that anyways, but it's already been done. So we've got that completely removed, and he's got a horrible delete done to it. If you come back over here, I'm gonna ounce myself a little bit. There is just some epoxy putty covering the hole. So we'll not be using that. We'll be using a block off plate because that's not what you're gonna wanna do for a turbo setup. If you're running NA, you'd probably be just fine. So since we're gonna throw a boost at this thing, I wanna make sure that this intake is sealed. So I'm gonna be going ahead and getting a block off plate for that, or making one myself.
Are you just gonna throw that over the top, or are you gonna have to remove?
Yeah. So I'll have to find a way to dig that out, and then just it'll cover
just
that.
just flatten it basically,
seal
and then
it up
cork it
and all that fun stuff.
Okay.
I'm gonna be running factory injectors for now. The goal is to eventually beef up the entire fuel system, but just to get it running and for testing purposes, we're only gonna be running this thing on about 5 pounds. I got a 5-pound spring in the wastegate right now, which brings you over to the turbo side. So this is pretty much a standard eBay turbo setup. It doesn't get any cheaper than this. I got this, again, this was a decent marketplace find, and this was all new, so I'm throwing new stuff in here. This is the standard cast turbo manifold that you'll see on anywhere, typically eBay or anything like that. I do have some concerns, but we'll see. This is kind of a tried and true setup. Pretty much anybody that turbos these pickups and these engines, they do use this. ISR, I'm pretty sure, makes another one that's all fancy, but it's like $1,200. You can get this.
How much? Yep. How much
You can
this
get this
one
for
cost?
about $140. So as of right now,
10% of that cost.
yes. So
Will it blow up quicker?
probably. So my
Stay
issues with
tuned.
it, if you bring it here and look, So it's a Y style because that's how the exhaust ports are. The turbo is right off of port 1 and 2. So it's angled right at it. So 3 and 4 has to travel across the wastegate before it gets to it. And it's also angled away. So everything is all about angling when it comes to exhaust and stuff like that. Ideally, you would want it in the center, just like where the wastegate is. So now, when the wastegate's starting to open up, the 1 and 2 exhaust gases are going to go to the turbo first before it hits the wastegate. So I don't think it's going to cause too much of a boost creep, but I suspect it is. So whereas 3 and 4 are going to have to travel across the wastegate like how it should.
For those that don't know, boost creep, you want to explain what that is?
So boost creep is where the wastegate is not able to bleed off enough exhaust gas in order to regulate the boost pressures on the turbo. So boost creep is where your boost is legitimately just creeping up more than you have it set. If you have it set to 5 pounds, where it's supposed to be 5 psi, and if it creeps up to 10 pounds, you could have some serious problems. So boost creep is bad. It can make or break your engine because these internals are really only good for about 7 to 8 psi because typically around then you're making into 300s on horsepower range. And from what other people have done testing wise, I haven't done any of this testing myself, but just on the forums and stuff, I'm sure you guys have heard too. These only really are good for about 300 to 350 horsepower on the stock internals. So this thing is completely stock on the inside. I haven't pulled the head. The only thing I did was, pull this cover off here, is I pulled the cam out and I did valve seals. So I done valve seals. I got a new timing kit put on there. It was leaking. There's a little bit of the exhaust ports were wet. That's how I knew that one of the exhaust valves was leaking. So that's just the seal. It's simple, cheap. Just pop them in. If you'd like us to dive into that further and how I did that, totally can. Just comment below and see if you want some more in-depth videos on how exactly I did that without pulling the head off the engine. So then the other things you need are, go ahead and rotate her on the side. No, she's not bolted in, so we'll just do this here. So right down here, oil pan. Went ahead and welded a bung onto it for the return line. So here's our oil drain line, and then this is your turbo core. So your inlet for your high pressure oil comes in here, and then your output for your oil return comes in here, and it goes right down into the oil pan. So I got one of these at my local, I guess, hydraulic fitting places by us, and I went ahead and welded that on myself. So thankfully this is a steel oil pan, so it's very easy. You got to get a steel one. Most of these kits come with an aluminum weld-in bung. You're not going to be able to weld aluminum to steel. So if you're running like an SR20 or something else with an aluminum bottom end, then yeah, that's going to be perfectly fine. You can take it on there. But I needed a steel one, so that's what we got. And then the other thing you need for a turbo swap over here is an oil sandwich plate. I got myself a Mishimoto one. All it does is it just threads in to where the oil fill neck is, and then it gives you 3 outputs over here. So what that does is that allows you to tap into your high pressure side of your oil system, and then you can run things like an oil feed for your turbo, or, which is what I'm going to use it for, and you can also run an extra oil pressure sensor. So I'm going to be running an oil pressure gauge on this because I want to be able to monitor what my oil pressures are at, especially under boost, because that could fluctuate. And then, so I can run another sensor just like this, and just tap it into the side over there, and just hook it straight up so I don't have to run an actual oil line into my dash and have the gauge read out that way. So I can use an electronic oil pressure gauge, which is what I will be using. That's about it as of right now. Like I said, just gonna be using mostly OE stuff. I went ahead and rebuilt the oil pump, timing chain, like I already mentioned.
Did you say what kind of power output you're expecting to get from the setup?
Oh, I don't know.
What do you think it's capable of? And I know you're going to restrict it a little bit for longevity.
Right, exactly.
What's your thoughts on that? What are you shooting for?
So the goal here is going to be about anywhere from 200 to 250. I think it's very attainable with what we have, but I got to be on my shit. It really just comes down to where my fuel management is at. If my fuel system can keep up, those numbers are very, very reasonable. But it's just, It's got the factory oil pump in it, and then I'm sorry, the factory fuel pump in it, and then I don't know how many miles were on this intake, you know, for the injectors. So that's where as pretty much as things wear out, I'll be replacing it with higher end stuff. So I'm pretty sure once I start trying to trick the fuel pressure to go up to 50 pounds, that fuel pump is going to be going out very quick.
Mid to high 200s. What did the OEM motor out of this D21? What was that pushing?
So they claimed factory to be about 135 horse at 3,500 RPMs.
So we're expecting to add more than 100 horsepower.
Yes.
Which, you know, under 300 doesn't sound too exciting, but take into account, how much does this guy weigh fully loaded?
I took it over a scale with me in it. It was about 2,800 to 2,900 pounds.
It's a light rig, so still that amount of power, this thing will be flying around pretty decently. We'll be doing burnouts. We'll definitely have to be doing some testing videos once we get it all buttoned up.
Thanks for watching today. Like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for more action. And anything else you want to say, Logan?
Nope, I think that's it. We got a lot more coming with this build.
Oh yeah. Stay tuned for more. Thank you.